All right, we're back here at the first Nerd Rage Online Trial. We're playing Legacy. We've been here all day long. I'm here with Jarvis Yu now as we're waiting for the finals. And it's going to take just a bit longer than we'd hoped because there's a problem with the Discord server that's set up. So we're getting an alternative means set up in order to watch the match. So it will happen. It'll just maybe take a couple minutes. In the meantime, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, go ahead and hit the follow button on the channel. That'd be great. And I forgot we're actually in the middle of a giveaway, so let me go ahead and award an entry to our next event. This is for our Modern event on October 4th, and the winner of the free entry is Ninja Striker. All right, Ninja Striker, congratulations. Hopefully you'll be joining us next month, and the rest of you, feel free to join also. We'll be playing Modern. In the meantime, while we wait to get this match set up, we've got a new set dropping next week. And we're going to talk about a couple cards that Jarvis picked out to talk about. So let's bring up the first one, or maybe the only one, I'm not sure. Valakut Exploration. So what? This is a landfall card. What strikes you about this card?
So I've played a lot of lands in my life, right?
Right.
What does this card work well with? Exploration. And there's a meme in my personal Discord that says, now you can play 8 explorations. So the reality is, a lot of post-board games with lands, you can't rely on your graveyard. So this is an engine card, right? And it also works very funnily with Mana Bond. So all of the lands come into play end step, they get exiled, but that card doesn't trigger until your next end step. So you'll just have them all ready to go on your next turn. Okay, that's pretty cool. Sorry, go ahead. And assuming they're bad, well, you can just deal your opponent like 7 damage or something, right?
So there was I remember, I don't off the top of my head the name of the card even worked. There was a couple years ago, there was another alternative kind of Life from the Loam that was played in lands decks to get around graveyard hate. It wasn't, I know for a little
Tireless Tracker.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Tireless Tracker, probably.
Oh yeah, Tireless Tracker definitely was one. Okay, so it looks like we have the deck list ready to go. So let's go ahead and onto that. I know some of you guys are familiar with what we've got, as we've been seeing them a few times today. We have Greg Dyer on Mono Blue Prison, a Chalice of the Void power deck. Really, this deck is just chock full of cards that are strong. I mean, when we have Emery is kind of just a cog in the deck, really, not anything we're relying on. That really, I feel like to me stands out as just how strong this deck is overall. We have legendary creatures all up and down the curve, planeswalkers, and then cantrips, really, and that's our deck aside from the Echo the Eon's Lion's Eye Diamond reset button for hands. And this is a cool deck. I've enjoyed watching it play, even though it sometimes seems like it's frustrating to play against.
Yeah, I think it's one of these decks that's much more fun to watch than being on the receiving end of losing to it, right?
Yeah, almost in every single way. Narset, in every format, I think is frustrating to play against.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I haven't seen the submerges in the sideboard of a deck like this before. I think that's like a new addition.
Yeah, and we saw it, I don't know if you saw earlier today, we saw it come up really huge in a game where Greg was going to lose and spun Urza and hit Submerge, which won the game, which was pretty astounding. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at Will's Temur Delver deck. Classic Rug Delver, classic Legacy deck, maybe the classic Legacy deck.
Yeah.
Updated for the current era with Dreadhorde Arcanist and Oko, which are cards that have dramatically increased the power level of the deck compared to what would have looked like 5 or 8 years ago. But the shell is still the same. Free counters, cantrips, bolts, some wastelands, and some delvers.
Yeah, so kind of think game 1 is going to be determined by Chalice of the Void or not, personally. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think unanswered Chalice, not only does it lock out the delvers, but Dreadhorde Arcanist is still, castable, but it can't really do anything if all the cards are flashing back or you get countered anyway. There are outs. Oko can deal with Chalice of the Void, so Will is not completely cold to it, but it would certainly be preferable to just not have it in play. All right, so we're watching from Will's perspective here. He is going second. Are we comfortable keeping this hand?
I probably wouldn't. Well, so a lot of what's going on here is if your mono blue opponent keeps 7, I don't think you're allowed to keep this hand personally.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's a cool way of looking at it. That's where you really whether your opponent keeps or not depends on how acceptable, how weak your hand can be. And okay, we're seeing Ancient Tomb into Chalice for one, and you are absolutely correct. Greg kept turn one Chalice, and maybe that should have suggested to Will that your hand without a force isn't good enough.
So I kind of feel like this is an example of London Mulligan sort of warping how these games are played, right?
Okay, why don't you go explain that?
So if you know your opponent's competent and they don't mulligan a hand in this deck, it probably means it's going to do something broken. I noticed this effect most when I was playing Tron.
Right.
Actually, so basically every time your competent opponent doesn't mulligan their hand, it probably means something bad's going to happen to you.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I love that was your example because that's what I thought of also.
Yep.
If I'm playing the Tron Mirror in Modern and I'm going second, and my opponent keeps 7, my hand has to have very specific things in order for me to keep it. It basically has to be Tron, because even if your opponent on 7, the chance of them having turn 3 or 4 Tron is just so high that you have to be ready to go on turn 3. So same thing here. The parallel is that your opponent kept 7. They likely have their best draw, and so you need to be able to match their best draw, and Will's unable to do that.
Even before London Mull, in these sorts of matchups, I mulliganed very aggressively as Delver once I knew I was playing against it. I mean, sometimes I would get blindsided in game 1 because it's game 1 without any knowledge of what I'm playing against, right? Yeah. But in a post-board game, when I was playing against like Moonstompy a lot, I would just not be satisfied with like average hands versus them. Or, sorry, when I would define an average hand as any hand without a force effect, you know?
Sure. Yeah, in a matchup like this where that's what matters. Yeah, no, I agree with you. This is something where, I mean, I don't want to necessarily blame Will, but this is a hand where maybe, or a game that, maybe he should have included in, like you're saying, to the fact that his 7-card hand wasn't good enough. Because really, even if your opponent kept a 7-card hand that wasn't a Chalice hand, how good was our 7-card hand going second? We didn't have a Delver. We had an Arcanist that could, and some Dazes. That's not exciting.
Yeah, I think that hand's a keep in like all of the fair matchups and like not great in these sorts of unfair matchups, right?
Yeah, no, definitely, and this would count as an unfair matchup.
Yep.
We have things are not like flying for Greg here, so. I mean, the Chalice was probably the reason he kept his hand, although it looks like he's got some winners rolled up there.
Whoa, what's going on now?
Well,
yeah. Yep, yes. So the reason I chose the Tron example is I know you played a lot of Tron,
yeah,
and it's actually the perfect example for that.
Yeah,
I heard a story from actually the MC where the London Mole was introduced. Hayne went to 3 cards and just Karn his opponent on turn 3. Well, this is Hayne. Hayne hates that type of deck, But Hayne is also a very skilled Magic player. What does he know? He knows what matters in that deck. Playing Tron by turn 3.
Yeah.
Often anything else is not good enough. I think he went turn 3 Karn, turn 4 Wormcoil. His opponent's like, wow, you got lucky to do that in 3 cards. And Hayne just said, this is what the London Mulligan does to the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I played Tron in that Pro Tour, and I played 4 mirrors on day 1, and it was unpleasant. Yeah. Because the games suck, and that's not true of all mirrors, but it was certainly true of those. Okay, so game 1 done with. We'll glance one last time at the deck list. We have Will Krueger here, who needs to do something to bring this back, as he dropped game 1 pretty decisively.
Yeah, but he does get quite a few effective cards. I think, from my perspective, Power Blast is desirable for obvious reasons, even though it does play into Chalice, but you get more Chalice answers. Explosives on 0 cleans up Chalice nicely. I think you could even make a case for Sylvan Library as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Explosives on 0 is actually great. The more I think about it after you just said that, yeah, I mean it gets the token creatures, which is pretty significant, as well as a Chalice, and then yeah, that's fantastic. And Lion's Eye Diamonds that are kind of hanging out, are going to go down also. So let's see if Will, going first this time, And with a Force of Will and a
Yep.
Delver. Okay.
Great hand. Obviously, no one would ever mulligan this hand.
Mm-hmm. All right. So 2 bolts. That's probably not ideal, but if this Delver flips right away, we may be rapidly on our way to trying to just finish this game out.
So I think you have to leave in the bolts to answer Emery, even though it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, right?
Right. Sure. Okay. So we see Chalice on 1 again. Force of Will fires off. I feel like I remember, and I may be wrong about this, but I feel like the early versions of this blue Narset Echo the Eons deck had Force of Wills, and they weren't so much based on the artifact cards.
I think it had forces, but then people realized it was just better to not put Force of Will into the main deck because you didn't need to do that all of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's definitely what we're seeing so far here. Okay, so Delver doesn't flip, reveals an Oko, which is or doesn't reveal an Oko, but draws an Oko, which certainly is a desirable card in the matchup. We can handle any chalices that come later on.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it'd be nice for a third. I don't know. If you're Will, would you rather draw the third land this turn, or would you rather flip the Delver?
I probably would rather draw the third land. What could happen, hypothetically, is Will flips a bad card to Delver and fetches it away, then draws a land. I think that would be the ideal scenario, actually.
It would. That would be really cool. If he draws a card like Force of Will, would you? He probably is willing to shuffle it away with no other. I guess he doesn't have another blue card in his hand. Maybe you wouldn't do that, but that's an interesting one.
So here's the problem with Lightning Bolt in the matchup.
Yeah,
Sai is a 1/4.
Yeah. This is not good. We need something like a Flame Slash. Okay, even a boy. Yeah, we needed Pyroblast is what we needed here.
So the major question from Will's side, I think, is do you double bolt with the Bobble in the stack to prevent a second Thopter? I think you're priced into it, and I believe that's what he's going for.
This is so miserable. Now actually, I guess we're not locked out of Oko because we need another land anyway.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah, I get it. We're going to do something. We have Ancient Tomb. That kind of makes up for the fact that we can't Lightning Bolt to the face. And
okay, if you're not going to draw a land, that's at least like a good consolation prize, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely. Boy, it's tough though. We can't even attack this turn.
Nope.
All right. So yeah, let's see. There's not even a cantrip. Yeah, but revealing a cantrip here would be nice because then we can fire it off again and try and get set up for the future. Assuming Greg doesn't just play something that just makes us want to throw up, which seems possible.
I liked your description of that. It makes us throw up. A lot of cards in his deck make us want to throw up here.
I know.
Like this Chalice of the Void. Actually,
okay, that's... I feel like things could have been worse. At least we have a ready-made out for that, is to draw a land.
Or just pummel our opponent's life total, right?
Yeah. All right, let's get in there for 4 damage. There are 2 Ancient Tombs. Those go down fast. And if we do draw a land and we can knock off the Chalice, then the bolts are ready to fire immediately.
Nine is not a lot of life when 2 of your lands are Ancient Tombs.
Right, and I would say there's definitely not another land in hand. Otherwise, it would have come down instead of the Ancient Tomb. So maybe if we can swing once more with both guys and then once with the Delver, that's probably going to... Well, that'll definitely do it. The Delver will probably get blocked next turn, I would think.
So what I'm actually thinking is if we can play Oko next turn, there's a lot of merit to just Okoing our Arcanist, right?
Okay, so if we did that...
well, maybe that's crazy, but it's something to consider, right?
Yeah, okay. So if we do that... Wow. Okay. Interesting. It's just going to go for a line... Oh, wow.
So that means Echo Viance? Or it means we need mana next turn... actually, there's a few ways this could go.
Maybe we're trying to bait Will into wasting an attack on the Karn. I don't actually think so, but this is actually... You have to attack in, because now those Ancient Tombs are really going to be messed with. So the token will block the Delver. It has to.
Right.
Do you think, is it possible the Arcanist should have attacked Karn?
Yeah.
No. Because I'm thinking of Lattice, but Lattice doesn't matter because it's more like Bridge that matters.
No.
It's hard to empty your hand with 2 Ancient Tombs, though.
No, it's not. Lion's Eye Diamond
Oh, you're
empties
right.
your entire hand. I think that was Greg's plan the entire time.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so then, yeah. So if we wish, and then we break Diamond, we'll have no cards in hand. Will would be able to draw. Oko would then win the game by turning off the Ensnaring Bridge.
It would.
But
all of your things are sort of bad versus Oko.
Yeah. Really, if Will draws a green source, he's likely to win almost no matter what happens this turn.
I agree.
But Greg's got to figure out what's his best chance of surviving here. We can only use one of the Ancient Tombs. So we kind of have access to 6 mana. Sort of.
I'm going to see if there's another card we could go get. That would be better.
Mm-hmm.
It does not really look like it. The options are Bridge, Walking Ballista, Liquid Metal Coating, Sorcerer, Spyglass, Tormod Script. None of those are particularly exciting, I think, except for the Bridge.
Right. Okay, so I wonder if the situation we're in here is we know we're getting Bridge, but we're trying to decide what we're doing first.
But City of Traders changes a lot of things, I think.
Yeah, well, it gives us access to a lot more mana.
Yep.
Let's see. Does that make Ballista an option? We can play Ballista. We can play Ballista for 4, I think.
We can.
I don't know that that's great either.
So I don't think that was Greg's plan, because if that's your plan, you crack the LED first, right? So I guess this is his plan.
Yeah. Well, now he's got to break the Diamond so he's got to throw his hand away here.
Yeah, at some point he'll make Will do it first, obviously, but
yeah.
Wow, no green source still.
Oh my goodness.
That makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, I know it does. Yeah. So actually, if Greg continues to draw double blue cards, he's still stuck. The Karn can tick up though, which will eventually matter, although not quite yet.
And Greg's 3 of a kind Narset's not good enough.
Well, earlier today we had Greg use Emery flipped over 3 Karns and then 2 turns later drew the 4th Karn. So maybe Narset is coming.
I'm not even convinced you want to draw Narset here.
No, I don't think you do either. Will's cantrips are already shut off.
I actually think your best draw would be a second Chalice.
Okay.
I think you just want layers of protection. Okay, so I think the way that Greg wins this game is to get Karn to 3, make a Lattice with the Bridge out, right?
That would be pretty good. We're definitely upping Karn regardless of what's happening. Yeah. Make Lattice with Bridge out. That would take a couple turns. I was thinking the Liquid Metal Coating to try and prevent Oak from ever happening, but yeah, Lattice does the same thing. A Wasteland. Well, that's not it, but I think we kill the city anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine. Well, hold on. What if we don't and just... If you don't and you draw a green source, then that opens up the option of Okoing plus bolting in the same turn?
Okay, well, we already have the bolt in the same turn because the Arcanist can attack. Oh, no, that's not true.
No, but what if you want to Oko the Chalice?
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. This, I feel like the appeal of doing this is obviously that Greg might not be able to cast spells without doing damage to himself.
Right.
But you're right. If we did it the other way, then we could... Let's see. Yeah, I'm unsure. This seems like the simplest, most direct way, and I'm not sure it's wrong.
I think this one's closer. This is more of a judgment call, personally. I don't know which one's right.
Yeah.
Mox Opal, a pretty good draw there.
I mean, getting a second permanent blue source is definitely nice. Okay, Karn does not stick around. It just uses itself up to get... Oh, that's good.
I think... Wait. Wow, this is brilliant, I think. I think the open decklist thing means that this names Oko and actually is mostly safe for Greg as long as he draws mana sources that are not... So the danger is if Greg draws like a bunch of Urzas in a row, right?
Yeah, or Echo the Eons. Anything expensive.
Yeah. But drawing a land is great.
It's good. Okay, so Echo the Eons is still a total bust. But yeah, almost anything else is now good. Ooh, wow. That's perfect.
Yeah, this is a very War Prison-esque game in my book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But if the viewers don't, go ahead and explain. You're talking about modern with trying to stay under the bridge. Yeah.
Well, so also just he understood the out was for his thing to get O-code, so he just cut that off as an out, right?
Right.
Which is brilliant play, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Very keen awareness of what he was vulnerable to, and now floating on. I mean, really, Echo the Eons is the only bad draw.
Oh no! Looks like he drew an Echo.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and a second Arcanist that can start attacking? Wow. Is he really going to lose by drawing all of the Echo Eons?
Well,
that would be wild, actually.
It would. It would just really be something. Okay, so there's a second Arcanist. Now, even drawing a 0-mana artifact or a land, he still takes 2 damage.
Look at all 4 Ancient Tombs.
2, 3, 4, 5. I think everything's castable. There's 5 non-pain mana. I think that's everything except Echo.
Yeah, so the deduction must be that one turn he drew an Echo.
Well, that
hold on. That just means you can bolt in a turn cycle or 2, right?
No, you can do it now, right?
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
Oh, my God! I forgot that the Spyglass itself does not cover this as an out, right?
Yeah. So this Arcanists are going to attack and then double bolt.
This was quite a game.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, wow. I enjoyed that one. I forgot.
That was really cool.
Well, we even talked about the explosives and sideboarding, and I just forgot that they were in the deck, right?
Right. So Will Krueger, unable to draw a green source for the entire game, does find explosives to blow away all the 0-mana artifacts, including the Chalice, allowing what had to be, even with the explosives drawn, if there hadn't been what almost certainly was an Echo of the Eons gummed up in the hand, there still wouldn't have been enough because those Arcanists couldn't have attacked. Oh, that was so cool.
Right, that was a great one. I do think it probably drawing the explosives means you are still okay because you get to blow away the Chalice and start cantripping and doing other things, right?
Right.
But that was a much more exciting way to have it go down, right?
Yeah, I guess even if there was no Echo stuck in hand after the Chalice, the turn late there was a bolt left in the hand, I think, which would have just ended it. Okay.
Oh, and then, so close, right?
After pulling out that game, Will's looking at a garbage hand and gonna mulligan into. Okay.
So. Yeah, awkward, but I mean, this time I do agree. Like on 6, you have to lower your range a little bit for a keepable hand. If you get Chalice, so be it. If really our opponent's just gonna have turn 1 Chalice all 3 games, well, sometimes that sucks, right?
Yeah.
But this time, at least, we have the Oko. What?
Oh.
All right, so Will going for the what some people will call the pray and hope line, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not unreasonable. Greg would have kept a lot of bad hands that had Ancient Tomb Chalice in them. So
Yep.
maybe
Just
Will can
maybe.
stick him on mana here.
This Delver Seekers is good for one thing. That's pitching to this Force of Will, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if Funky Monkey has another mana source.
Yeah. Well, given the pause here, I imagine we're choosing between lands.
Oh!
Oh my goodness!
Oh!
That is not, in fact, the case. We're actually more likely we're bemoaning our fate.
Remember the pray and hope?
Yeah. I think we're there. This is wild. Final round, Nerd Rage event delivers again. Okay, let's see. I don't know. These last two games, whatever happens in this game, this match has already been awesome. Will Krueger won, I believe Will Krueger won the last paper Nerd Rage event before the coronavirus lockdown. And he's looking good to take down another one here. Maybe. I mean, obviously, a whole lot of things could still go wrong.
You remember when there used to be advantage bars on broadcasts?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, if Will had one, I would think he would be eating it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been broken off on the swing when that land drop got missed.
Exactly.
I mean, we've in like basically 5 minutes of real time, Greg Dyer went from having an ensnaring bridge lock to being so much screwed in a whole other game. Okay.
So this is interesting. Do you force a will this?
I do not. I would not.
I probably would not as well, but there is a case for it, you know?
Yeah, there's no way to know there isn't another one in hand, as there've been no point in playing them up till now.
Right.
And we don't need to hold off forever. The Oko is going to come down this next turn. So I would not force a will.
Right. I want to be able to ride this Oko to victory, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And also, if we ever draw an Engineering Explosives, it looks so tasty here,
yes. Right? That would be very cool. I would have liked to have fetched a Thin there. Only because we're fetching anyway.
And also Chalice walks out our brainstorms for now, so
yeah. So I would have liked to have seen that. Oko hits the board. Create a food. Okay. So we're just gonna leave the Chalice out there maybe, and then there's no reason to obviously animate it this turn.
This turn you don't need to plus it. Yeah. Next turn you might.
You actually, I was gonna say you're probably even more incentivized to do it because it'll shut off the Mox Opal, or make it harder for Mox Opal. Okay, Lotus Petal. One
Emery?
Blue. Emery? Yeah. No.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Mox Opal also Lotus Petal.
Yeah, rewarded for not forcing the first one, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we see here?
If it's a second Chalice, I am skeptical you even care, right?
Do you think you just go aggro with
yes?
Oko? Yeah.
Or you just hope to manually draw in explosives. Look at how debilitating Engineered Explosives would be on this board.
Let's see. If we animate one and then I guess bolt it. If we force this one and animate bolt the other one, the Mox Opal is shut down again. I don't know how relevant that is.
Yeah, I think I agree with not forcing it, but obviously it's close. Come on, just draw in explosives. It'd be the most insane Engineered Explosives. Oh, that's a great pickup, though.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, I think now just letting the Chalices sit in play and attacking for 3 every other turn, or making the world's slowest Centaur Glade is more appealing, right?
Yeah, no, this. I love that you mentioned Centaur Glade. This is gonna get there. Maybe Centaur Glade, for people that don't know, is a very old enchantment that was 4 mana, and I believe it was 5 mana and cost 4 to make a 3/3.
Yeah, but 3/3 beast. It's from Onslaught.
Yeah, my first ever Grand Prix Day 2 was in sealed, and I had 2 of those.
Oh, that card was insane in the format.
Yeah, I had 2 of those, a Dragon Roost, and 2 Explosive Vegetations.
Oh,
That was
Well,
my whole
Dragon
deck.
Burst was also like a
Yeah,
borderline bomb, but
that was my whole deck. I was terrible, and that was enough to get me to day 2 for the first time.
speaking of
Yeah,
centaurs and beasts, these
yeah,
elks,
we're
they're
getting there.
really mad.
We are getting there. This. It looks like Greg was the player that mulliganed, but actually it was Will this game. But these forces are going to get it through, and that's it. That's done. Greg Dyer is not going to be able to assemble a functional mana base, and Will Krueger is going to take down this event after being so very extremely close to dead in game 2.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think that game was that just shows the power of Wasteland, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh boy, when you say Wasteland and Prey, what did you say? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Pray and Hope, right?
Pray and Hope. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that got there that time. That was super cool. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I did. I did commentating it. That was a fun match, and it was really cool to see kind of the somewhat dramatic turn when that explosives flew off the top in game 2 on about, I don't know,
I
turn
agree.
10 or so. That was really neat. Okay, so wrapping things up here today, we've got 8 people earning invites into the next arena qualifier weekend. We have Will Krueger taking home $400 and also free entry and a buy into our season showdown in December. We had a couple people winning our raffled off entries into our next event. So if you're into Modern, that's going to be our next format played. It's on October 4th. And I don't believe I remembered to mention earlier that we do have a deal with Card Hoarder. So if you don't have a Modern deck on Magic Online, but you want to play anyway, Card Hoarder will rent you a deck for the weekend. Anything you want, up to 500 credits for $10, and you can check cards in and out if you want to practice with them or play other events on Friday and Saturday, play our event on Sunday, and then return the cards on Monday morning. It's a pretty cool deal. We're happy they managed to offer that with us for the whole season. Jarvis, that was awesome. Thanks for being here. Anything you want to say about the experience? What was your favorite game or what struck you the most out of watching these rounds?
Well, Rug Delver, still one of the best decks.
Yeah.
I was having a talk with a friend of mine. It feels like every other Legacy period, Delver's the best deck.
Yeah.
I think there's like a 3-month span where it's not the best, then it slowly iterates itself to become the best again. And I feel like that's been true for the last 6 years off and on, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Let's go ahead and bring up Will's deck list one last time.
Yeah.
The deck list that won the event, pretty workman-like normal main deck, but really we saw his Cyborg cards pull a lot of weight in multiple different matchups. We saw explosives huge in game 2 of the finals match. We saw Clothis annihilate a couple snow decks over time, and just well built, and it worked well. And yeah, boy, I don't know when the last time I saw 3 submerges in one deck list was, but he knew what he wanted to do, and it worked out.
I would say the better Rug Delver is, the better Submerge is.
Sure, that makes sense. And you were saying this deck list probably originated from Daniel Goetschel?
Yeah, Gold Ducat on MTGO. An absolute slayer. I think there was a period of 4 weeks in a row where he top 8'd every Legacy PTQ and kept scooping to people because he already had an invite.
Oh, sure, okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good for him, and good for Will Krueger, who wins his second Nerd Rage event of the year. The paper event back in February, and then this event today. So that is going to basically end our show for the day. Thank you for being with us. I'm sure not many of you were here for the entire 9 hours, but if you were, props to you and sticking with us. I had a good time bringing it with you today. Our event today was brought to you by Nerd Rage Gaming. We want to acknowledge our commentators today, Caroline Kavanaugh, Anurag Das, and Jarvis Yu. Our technologist and tournament producer, Maxwell Kahn, running things behind the scenes. Owner and director for today, Norman Cohen. And myself, Joe Lossett. Thank you for joining us here, and we'll see you next month.